Hey guys, I'm Scharad Lightbourne. I'm a portrait and lifestyle photographer based in Nassau, Bahamas.
Scharad Lightbourne. Wait, let me fix myself. Did you bring your camera?
Oh, I brought my iPhone, which has a good camera.
Okay, because I'm ready to stick with my L right now. So tell us about yourself. You know, we see you all over the place in the media and different commercials on social media. Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, I'm a portrait and lifestyle photographer here in Nassau. I've been working for myself for about 10 years now. And just, what do I do? I tell people I just take photos. Like, I just take pictures, right? I love taking pictures of people. And so that's kind of what my focus is right now, is kind of strengthening and hardening my skills in terms of capturing people and what they're about and their different stories and stuff like that. So, so that's kind of like the direction of my work and where my work is headed at this present state.
Okay. Now, I wore a hoodie today, and the hoodie says, "Don't kill my good vibe." Now, I've worn this other places before, but I wanted to put it on especially for you, Sharad, simply because I feel like that's the aura that you give off. You know, it's like, don't kill my good vibe, and you don't say it. It's just the professionalism that you exert. It's just the aura about you. When you show up, you mean business, you're serious, and it's don't kill my good vibe.
Yeah.
So I wore this hoodie especially for our interview today.
Nice.
But tell me, is Scharad Lightbourne the same person behind the well, let me say it like this. Is the same person behind the camera? No, I still didn't say it right.
No.
Is Scharad Lightbourne the same person when he's away from the camera that he is behind the camera?
Well, surprisingly, no. I mean, somehow when I am working in my element, I really love what I do. So I think all of my personality comes out when I'm working, because I like there to be a good vibe on set. I like the energy to be high level. I love music, so I play a lot of music on set. So it's always like high impact energy going. Like it's like a workout. Yeah, it's kind of like a workout, and everybody around me feeds off that energy.
So wait, I could burn calories too if we do a set with you.
Well, you never know. Depending on what the shoot's gonna be, you just never know. So, but no, when I'm like just by myself or with friends, or at home, I'm very introverted. My close friends, my wife, she tells me, you're not a people person at all, which is so like.
Speaking of your wife, congratulations. Hi, Tanya. Congratulations on tying the knot.
Thank you. But yeah, everyone, like my small circle of friends, they know that I'm very like introverted, and they know who Sharad is. But then when I pick up the camera and I start to work, everything kind of comes
like you're
out.
in the zone.
That's when everything, my real personality and that side, everyone has, an alter ego, so that's when that side of me comes out.
Have you found the person's ever took you the wrong way because you're so introverted at times?
I mean, I think that, it happens to me a lot. I've been, in certain situations where, people would contact me to do work, and I always like meet with potential clients. And I sit down and we have a conversation, and we talk about the shoot and the concept and what direction they want to take. And there have been a few times where people have said, I thought you would have been so like hard-edged and stubborn and blah blah blah. Because just like what you say, when people see me work, it's like it's a lot of fun, but then it's no nonsense. It's let's get this job done.
Exactly.
And I'm not like a club hopper or a party goer. So when I'm not working, I'm just kind of home, so people don't really see like into my life that much. So they only see the work that I put out. And so because of that, people form perceptions, and you know how we are. We're a small, tight-knit island community, and everybody kind of knows everybody. So if people feel like they don't know you, then it's like, they form their own judgments and perceptions. And so I get it a lot, but that's just a part of life.
But taking all that into consideration, has any of the projects that you've worked on, and you're in your element, has any of it ever taken you outside of your comfort zone?
Oh, good question.
Because it doesn't look so. So I have to ask because, you know, sometimes we approach things not knowing within ourselves, you know, exactly what we're going to do, but we just know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So has anything ever taken you out of your comfort zone and nobody knew it?
I mean, there have been a few jobs that I've done where I've just not been there, you know, and I think earlier this year or late last year I wrote this post because I was going through this, I don't know, this thing, and I wrote like, I said, like, I apologize to everybody that I failed, to everybody that I disappointed, everybody who had certain expectations for their photos and it didn't come out the way. Because we, you know, as artists, we go through these periods where not it's always going to be a hit and a miss or a miss, and that's how you grow as a creative. Not every job is going to be dead on. Not every job is going to be, oh my God, incredible. But you know, like I've just had the opportunity to really just hone in on my craft, and when people contact me to do work, it's like, we want you to do what you do, but for us, right? So it's not like, do this because we tell you to do this. Right. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to work for myself, because I don't like anybody telling me what to do, right? But no, you know, I've been blessed with like incredible clients who are simply, we love what you do, so just do that.
And we trust you.
We trust you, right? So, you know, but you know, like I said, there's always a miss here or there. And those are learning experiences for me.
Right. And, you know, you're not only a photographer, but you're also a director. Sharad is a director. He's a panel speaker. He's just an all-around creative. And you wear many hats, Sharad, you know. So how do you approach each one without shortchanging the next one? Because, you know, I just saw the other day that, you know, you did something at UB. You know, you were a panel speaker for an event that they were having. And, you know, I see you also behind the camera. And I see you being the creative director of certain projects. So how do you make sure that each one gets the fair share? And do you like totally put yourself in a different zone for each one?
Well, I think just as a human being, I've always loved being creative, you know, from a young age. You know, I always used to get in trouble because I would doodle in my sketchbook, in my like textbooks at school. And, you know, even going back younger, my mom would tell me, you know, you would always draw in the walls and get in trouble for drawing, you know, using. So I think that I, you know, from a very young age, I knew that I would be in a creative field because I just loved being able to express myself, right? And express myself freely and be creative in the ways that I express myself. So I kind of take that approach to every client. Every client has a different story. Every brand has a different story that they want to tell. So when someone comes to me and says, "Hey, this is my story, I want to tell it, I want you to tell this story for me through photography or through video," I kind of look at it that way. Okay, how do you want to express yourself? How do you want to...
So you get their feedback as well.
Right, I mean, the client feedback is very important because they're spending the money.
Right.
So I think, you know, for me, it's not really a matter of different hats. For me, it's just the ability to... How do I transform this idea that they have into like a final product, which could be moving images, which is video, or still images, which is, you know, photography. And I think just through my brand and building it to the point it is today and working very hard, a lot of people take notice and recognition of that. And so I've been doing, you know, for many years, I've been asked to speak at schools or like just recently UB. And you know, I do workshops and because I like teaching. I like certain elements of giving back.
That's important.
Or inspiring other people to just basically just follow the dreams, and if there's something that they love and they want to do it as a career, you know, you could do it, because I'm kind of a testament to that.
Right. And you know, you mentioned building your brand, and you know, branding is such a big word in 2018. Everybody's saying, you know, I'm branding myself, I'm building my brand, you know, brand, everything is brand.
Everything is
what
brand
is
now.
your brand to you? when we see your logo SL, and might I say, it's very, 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 very nice.
Thank you.
So what is your brand to you?
Well, I think I have a little bit of an advantage because in college I studied graphic design, and one of the things that was embedded in our course of study.
Sorry, wait, you went to school for this?
For graphic design, yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I always, did you go to school for photography? No, I went to school for graphic design.
And everything just kind of mushroomed from there.
So everything just kind of mushroomed from there. But, we were taught, that it's about the process. It's not just about a final product or how you get to a final product. It's how did you get there? What did you do? What sort of research did you do? Why did you use these colors? Why did you use this font? Why did you, how did you compose it the way that you did? And so I've used that ability and that training to kind of dictate where my photography goes and how I want my brand as a photographer to, the direction that takes.
Right.
And I've been able to kind of gift other people with that same knowledge. And so, that's a part of, some of the things that I offer when I brand somebody. And like you said, so funny you said that brand. Everybody's
using this word brand.
Everybody's using this word. Like they're throwing it around like tuna fish in the food store. Brand. Everybody's branding. Everybody's a branding photographer.
It's like saying it, the, and
yeah.
hi. It's like like everything is a brand now.
Yeah, I mean, I've saved a lot of money by branding myself and kind of figuring out the look and feel and how I want my image and my logo to look. And I've kind of done this for a lot of people actually, and given a lot of consultation to persons who want to go out on their own and want to start their own business and they want to brand themselves. And I just had a slight advantage because I've been trained to do that.
Right. And training is important. A lot of people, we forsake the need to gain the knowledge and to gain the training that is needed. And then you also mentioned a word, process. I heard you when you said it's a process, and everything is a process, and we have to trust the process in things. And so it's great that you acknowledge that. It's great that you talked about your training and all of that built the brand that we see today. Now tell me what inspires you. Are there any particular environments, like if someone were to say, I want to do a shoot for my office, or I want to do a shoot for my birthday, or, I'm going to prom, I want to get a shoot in my evening gown. Is there, first of all, let me say, because of the brand that you're building, is there anything that you kind of stray away from and anything that you particularly target?
Great question. I think I'll start by answering the first question. I like to travel a lot, right? Any excuse that I have to go somewhere, like I'm gone.
Tonya, you hear that? You going on a plane soon, girl?
We are actually. When I travel, I get so inspired by where I am and the things that I'm looking at. And again, because as a photographer, I love to shoot and capture people. Like, you sit in the airport and I people watch, because there's so many different people, different types of people that cross through the airport. You can tell who's the college student going back to school, who's the businessman going here for a meeting, families, artists, musicians. So I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I kind of label people just from how they dress or their appearance. And then you go to like cities like Toronto, Jamaica, New York, and every city is different in its own right. Every city has a different vibe. And I think all creatives, all artists kind of feed off whatever that vibe gives them. And we were just having a conversation last night with some friends about like DC and how DC is so different from New York, and how New York is so different from like a Virginia or an Orlando or like Caribbean countries. So I always get a lot of inspiration from travel. I get inspiration from looking at photographers whose work to me is on a different level, like an even higher level.
So does that make you not feel like you're pleased with what you are executing, or does it just motivate you to go harder?
It's a little bit of both. It's definitely, moments, when I'm either like flipping through a magazine or online looking at a website, and, it makes you feel like I have to work so much harder to get to this point, or I have to work even harder to get to this point. And then it also makes you feel like, what am I doing? Like, I need to step it up. I need to, if this is the level that I want to get to, I have to work hard. But I always tell people the difference between you and somebody else is always opportunity. So you kind of have to work hard, and then the opportunity will kind of present itself. So, you know, I'm inspired by everything. I'm inspired by just even sitting out here and looking at this scenery
view
that we
is
have.
just,
I'm just like, wow, this is incredible.
no worry, we could get some shots after.
You know, like food and like other types of art. Like I have a lot of my friends are artists, so I love music. I love painting, illustration, sculpture. You know, obviously photography. So there's so much art around you every day that you just have to look at it. And so that's one of the things that those are things that I draw a lot of inspiration from.
And you know, you mentioned the things that you draw inspiration from and your friends and your circle. Is it important to you to constantly surround yourself with persons that inspire you? You know, they say what you feed is what is going to grow. So, you know, do you consider your circle a very important or necessary group of persons that are needed for, you know, you guys can feed off each other or pull off one another or just vent, you know, talk about your day, talk about the jobs that you know, you're working with now, the contracts, you know. So is your circle very important to you?
It is, especially now. Everybody in my circle, everybody's growing at, you know,
that's
phenomenal
important.
rate. And so I find that it's necessary to keep in close contact with those people. You know, one of my closest friends is an artist. Another friend of mine, she's a stylist, you know, and then I have like I'm close with, you know, a makeup artist, and so everybody is kind of gifted in their own way. And like you said, like there are times when I'll get a phone call, Sharad, I need to vent to you about something, or what do you think I should charge this person? So
I need your
we
feedback, your opinion.
Right, and we feed off each other back and forth, and I think those types of communities are very necessary. And it also kind of keeps you humble, because, you know, you'd be in a situation where you're like, this client said this and it rubbed me the wrong way and I want to respond. No, Sharad, don't say it like that. You would completely blow that person off.
Back in the day, I used to dabble in a little bit of hair and makeup, and there was one time that we did this shoot. The person that you were working with, you know, they just kind of went over to you and was like, Sharad, what's going on with makeup? You know, it was just all kind of colors. It wasn't what you expected. And, you know, and it's not anybody that you work with now. It was just a random person that came on to do the makeup, you know. And the way that you approached that person, you just said, you know, can we just go a little lighter on the eyes? You know, it was just, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't, because it's been so many years, right? But I mean, your approach is just so humble, and your approach is just, you know, so professional as well. And I think humility and professionalism go hand in hand. So I think that's also something that is so admirable about you, and that sets you apart as well. So, you know, your approach is just lovely.
I mean, I think that comes from like home training. You know, my parents are very balanced in the way that they approached raising my sister and I. And my mother, my dad is very like, we were raised like the old school way. So my dad is very like disciplinarian, militant, like do it like this because I tell you to do it like this. And my mom's more like she's more like the, you know, she'll talk it over and she'll kind of smooth things through. And even my dad at some point says we got older and we didn't need a belt or a broom or a tamarind switch to get disciplined with.
It sounds like you remember and went.
Very well, very well. But no, like, you know, as we grew older, you know, especially my dad kind of said, you know, you have to kind of explain things to people. You kind of have to talk things through. Don't just go from 0 to 100, you know, talk it out. And I think I've learned a lot of that from them. And as a, you know, becoming an adult now and working with other people, I find that not insulting them is not the way to approach it. It's better, I think, for people, like you say, if they know that they're making a mistake, to say, hey, listen, let's try something different. And if they become more receptive to, you know, improving. And I think one of the things that, you know, and I don't really, people say it to me, I don't really say it, I don't really put it out there, but everybody that I've worked with, most people that I've worked with have gone on to like start their own companies, start their own brands, and just from working with me, they've learned kind of how to approach, you know, their own creative fields, and they're doing like some incredible things. And you know, people say, well, that's kind of a testament to who you are, because people know that, you know, if I work with Sharad, I'm going to take my own skill level to the next level. I think that's just, you know, a God-given gift. You know, everybody has a purpose in life, and I think, you know, your gift, even though I love photography, you know, my gift to me is the ability to take somebody else and make them better, or help them to understand their own crafts differently. So I kind of enjoy, you know, that aspect of my job.
Right, and you know, and even getting other people to kind of understand their craft and, you know, just to delve into it wholeheartedly. And, you know, that shows personal growth, you know. So, you know, over the years, I'm sure you take delight in looking back to see, okay, you know, I was here, and then the next year I was here, and then, you know, you're just constantly growing. However, during the process of growth, have you ever neglected Sharad because you're just pouring out so much of yourself to other persons? Has Sharad ever felt like, you know, I just need some downtime, I need some time to recharge, I need to refuel?
Yeah, I go through that, you know, a lot. You know, when you keep giving out, you know, you get tired, like mentally you become exhausted at some points, and that's when you kind of take a step back and you have to say, okay, I need to recharge, I need to refresh my batteries, and that's when I take a trip, right? I go somewhere, kind of reevaluate what's happening, and then come back. Like I would mentor like a lot of people, like both male and female, who a lot of young photographers who want to get into the field, and they would have expressed, you know, some kind of admiration or respect for the work that I've done or the work that they've seen me do, and they want to be on set, and they want to learn, you know, like the ins and outs and how to work with other professionals like stylists and hair stylists and makeup artists and other photographers. And, you know, some people I give the opportunity to, some I don't, if I feel like they're not, their heart isn't in it. You know, but
right,
there has
sorry,
to be,
I just want to interrupt you there. You know, it's important to recognize when your heart is not in it. You know, and because that's a reflection of you as well, because they're going to go out there and say, you know, I was mentored by Sharad, you know, or Sharad taught me this, or being on set with him, I learned this. And if they're not executing at a high standard, or their heart isn't in it, or they just drop the ball, that's a reflection of you as well. So, you know, I like that you are able to identify that in persons, you know?
Yeah.
But what has been your biggest achievement to date? You know, you've had so many, you know, we see you everywhere, like everywhere. What has been Sharad Lightbourne's biggest achievement to date? It's kind of hard to pick one. But I would say, let's say this. What has been your biggest personal achievement to date? You know, if you have ever, if you're the writing type and you said, you know, this year I want to set these goals for myself, or in the next 3 years I want to accomplish this. What has been your biggest achievement to date? You can say, I did that.
Oh man, oof.
You sound like.
I mean, when I look back on, you know, everything from when I first started photography to now, there's been a lot of great things that have happened to me, and great things that I've come across, and amazing opportunities. I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with everyone, I feel, and I've worked with some, you know, incredible brands. And I remember the first time I worked with Miss Bahamas, I thought that was like an amazing opportunity, because, you know, as a photographer, that's one of those jobs where it's like it not solidifies you, but it kind of puts you on this pedestal that your work is at this level, right? And I remember the first time I got the Miss Bahamas contract, I was so excited because I'd wanted it for years, right? I had wanted to
I mean,
shoot.
who doesn't want it?
Exactly. That's, as a photographer, you want in your career to say, I've shot or I've worked with a beauty pageant, right? And I remember for years, I would pray and pray and pray. I'm like, I just want to shoot Miss Bahamas, please. I want Miss Bahamas.
And it's Miss Bahamas. It's not like Miss Bahamas leaf or Miss Bahamas water.
Leaf.
or Miss Bahamas Street. It's the Miss Bahamas pageant.
Yeah, and I remember when I got that call, and I was so excited to just, oh my goodness, just shoot for the organization.
Right.
I was really excited, and since then I've shot like several different years for the pageant, and you know, I remember that was a big achievement for me. You know, personally, you know, getting married is another achievement of mine. You know, having a partner who kind of supports you, where you don't have to go through everything by yourself. You know, your accomplishments you can share with somebody. Your failures you get to share with somebody. I mean, everything. You have somebody who's gonna be there with you like, every step of the way, and I think that's personally that's definitely like an achievement that I.
And I also think so too, like what your partner, what Tanya has stepped into on her own. I think that you guys go hand in hand. You know, the whole branding, the marketing, the everything. You know, I think Tanya and Sharad, like that's a perfect fit. You know, you guys go hand in hand with your businesses, and you know, I just want to say congratulations, Tanya. You know, that is so awesome, and what you're doing now. Congratulations.
Yeah,
but
she loves what she does. And like you said, it does go hand in hand. I mean, you have a partner who wants to do whatever they love, and it kind of filters back home. And so, you know, it's a great thing to have, you know, a support system and a best friend and a partner who kind of understands that, and who will push you equally as much as she's pushing herself to kind of get to, because she's always, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? I'm like, are you serious?
But that's all women though. We always think about what's next, you know, like what's next is, you know, we got to keep this thing going.
Yeah, she's like, you just did that. What are you going to do? You have to do something else. What's the next big thing that you're going to work on? I'm like, oh, all this pressure.
And so she helps you with planning ahead. You know,
all this pressure,
keep it up,
man.
Tanya.
All this pressure. But, no, just professionally, I mean, I've been, you know, blessed with so many different achievements, and for me, those achievements are working whenever I get a new client, or whenever an existing client calls me back to do work. That's always an achievement for me.
It's the callback that matters.
It's that callback that matters, and you know, people trust you with their vision, and they trust you with, you know, the stories that they want to tell, and so, you know, those are like golden eggs. You know, they're very hard to find, and when you do find them, you keep them close.
Now, speaking about eggs, you know, you have the Miss Bahamas egg in your basket. You have the Bahari season. Well, Bahari on the whole, you have that in your basket. You also have Alive in your basket. You know, so you have a lot of big eggs in your basket. This has this ever stressed you out, or caused, or just made you feel so pressured? You mentioned the word pressure just now. Did it ever make you feel so pressured that, you know, it came out in your work? Because we don't see it, you know, but you know, you would see it, you know. So has any level of stress or pressure, I should say, not stress, pressure, ever came out in your work?
Well, there's always pressure to perform, especially with a client like Bahari. You know, they do multiple collections every year. So in a 12-month span, they could do 3-4 different collections that are all different. And so when they come and they say, okay, well, we want to do this shoot, this is the theme, let's develop it some more. It's like, okay, how do we top the last shoot? Right. You're only as good as your last picture, right? That's how I look at life, and that's how I kind of look at my work. And so the ability to then come and say, okay, how do we top this one? Because one thing with Bahari, they're very involved with the creative process, because it's a company that's come from very humble beginnings. They've kind of built the brand from the ground up. And so the creative director, it's his baby. And so him and I, we work very, very closely together when we're producing these different campaigns, because he wants to ensure that his brand is well represented. And then at the same time, he wants it to look good. So we always have this back and forth, this little like we go back and forth. No, we did that already. And then, right. But I want it to look like this. So there's a lot of, but I mean, it's just creative. It's a creative battle, like I always say. And then when the shoot day comes, it's always, okay, I have to knock this out the park. I have to do a great job. I have to do really well. So I have a client like that who's very like, you have to do way better than you did with the last one. And then I have, clients like Alive who are like, Sharad, we love what you do. Just do whatever.
Right,
We're just gonna show up. You do whatever it is that you do. And, people like Miss Bahamas and, my private clients, and they're all kind of like the same. Some people are more like hands-on. I have this specific look. Here's a few photos. I love these. What can we do, right? And I always get nervous before every shoot.
You do?
I get really nervous.
No,
but it's normal.
Get nervous.
It's quite. I think it's very normal to feel that way because there's always that anxiety before you have to perform or produce. There's this any artist, any musician, any actor will tell you that there's that period just before it's showtime where they get that period of nervousness comes over them.
Right.
They get over it and then it's go time.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say that I was nervous, right? But and just preparing the graphics, and I know that you are a professional graphic artist. I know that. And so in just preparing the graphics for, our digital flyer and everything, I'm like, oh boy, I hope Sharad likes it, because I know this is your thing, and and it's a good thing that you're such a perfectionist. So, so I can understand that nerve that you're talking about. But again, you approach it with such humility, and your communication skills are bar none. That I think that but that's what I've experienced. Your communication skills are bar none. So I think that's really good. The humility, the communication skills, the professionalism. I can't say it enough. That's what I've experienced with you.
Yeah.
So I just want to continue to say it's so admirable. Communicating with you, even with this project. So thank you so much for that. But I would have to just ask you. We talked about your achievements, your accomplishments, the persons and the companies that you've worked with. Any regrets?
Well, what's interesting is when, after, let's say I've shot like a big campaign, and after the images have been released and they're out, I'm always looking at it like, man, I should have done this, or I should have told her to do that, or I should have told the model to do something. I'm always I'm extremely critical of my own work. So I'm always looking back like, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done that. And I feel a little disappointed in myself because I should have done it. Like I should have prepared for it. I should have picked that out when I saw it. Which is so, I'm sure I'm not the only photographer that goes through that.
Right.
Regrets.
So keeping the standard.
Yeah.
Keeping the standard is really important to you.
It is very important. Regrets is a good word. I mean, I think, like I said, the latter part of last year, I went through this moment where I just felt like I should address, all my failures. And so, I addressed clients that I would have failed, people who I would have disappointed because, they would have had a certain level of expectation with, a final product. I mean, and not everything that I do is going to be perfect. I failed a lot of people, like clients and as well, who just had an expectation and I didn't meet it. And I think that I've taken each one of those failures and kind of learned from each one. So it's not a where I regret not doing something. It's where I kind of understand why I failed at something and then figure out how do I move forward? How do I get past this, and how do I grow even more so that when the next opportunity presents itself, I would not make the same mistake again.
So comfort zones is not a part of your vocabulary then? Like you don't believe in okay, I could have done better, but this works, so we're gonna go with that, next time. So you always believe in raising the bar and with your own standard.
I think that's why I like shooting the work that I do, focusing on portraiture and people and lifestyle, because there's no room for a comfort zone. No, you can't do the same thing that you do for one client for the next one. You have to always think of, how do I say this differently? How do I capture this differently? And so there's always this battle, this back and forth, this, it's almost like sword fighting, there's up and down and left and right. And so I think for me, it's recognizing, where do I go next? How do I do this differently? How do I improve? How do I improve not only as as a photographer, but how do I improve like as a person, like people skills, and how do I communicate this differently, and how can I say this differently, and so working around people and then photographing different people, and like I said, the opportunities that I've had have taught me a lot. So I've kind of learned how to deal with a lot.
That's good. That's good because it shows growth, and we always talking about growth. But is there a particular tell me and tell everyone?
Everybody.
Is there is there a particular verse or quote that you live by? That's kind of like your guideline. Are you one of those persons that keep a verse or a quote nearby?
I have always lived by this quote. I'm not sure if I just made it up or if I saw it somewhere and it just stuck, because I can't seem to find it online anywhere. But I always use this quote, and it's short steps, long vision, which basically means don't look at other people who are making like leaps and bounds. If you have your own goals, even if they're small goals, like purchase a camera, and then your next goal after that is buy a flash. Like, you have your camera, you start to do some work, you make some money, you buy a flash. That's a goal, right? You've achieved the goal. So everything has to move forward, whether it's a big step or whether it's a small step. But your vision has to be super long, because you have to see the end result. You have to see, where do I want to be in 5 years? What am I going to be doing in 10 years? As a photographer, what am I going to be doing? What is my work going to say in 5, 10, 15? And you look back and you see the small steps that you would have taken to get to this momentous thing in the end or later on down in life. So I'm always, and I look at my own life and I see the small steps, but like in my mind, I always know where I want to go, and I know where I want my work to be, and I know as a photographer where I want my career to be in another year, in another 3 years, 5 years. And so I keep working towards those goals. Even though the steps are small, the vision is long enough for me to keep moving forward.
Okay. And with all of that being said, I just want to ask you one more question. And our time has been great.
Yes,
the time just flew by. But I just want to ask you one more question. I want you to look into the camera when you answer this. Would you say that in 2018 that you are on the rise?
2018, I feel that I am definitely on the rise to something bigger.